Peace to everybody. This is about Michael Jackson fans sue singer's alleged abuse victims for damaging memory of the dead. And as you know, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, they were continuously lying on Michael Jackson, excuse me, saying that he sexually abused them, and that was not true at all. And of course, as you can see here, this piece of the film of Leaving Neverland. I'm not going to play any videos that are in this article, but it was all a one-sided documentary, because it was all about Wade Robson and James Safechuck lying on Michael Jackson continuously, saying, oh, well, he sexually abused us. That's not true at all, because Michael Jackson was never like that at all. He helped children, yes, because a lot of children were sick, and he helped them, gave them love and everything, but never ever sexually abused a child, ever. When Michael Jackson's superfan Myron Walter first saw the HBO Leaving Neverland documentary, in which two key witnesses gave a graphic account of sexual abuse at the hands of the star, she said she cried and wanted to vomit. So the woman had watched the HBO Leaving Neverland documentary, and of course she cried and she wanted to vomit because these two men have lied on him. Referring to Jackson's alleged pedophilia, the 62-year-old former French nurse said, "I know that it is not possible, despite having never met the star. It was rotten. It was to make a buzz. It was to make money." So she was a former nurse. She's 62 years old, and she said, despite having never met the star. So, well, she never met him, but it was rotten, and it was to make a buzz, and it was to make money. So that's what Wade Robson and James Safechuck were about, making that money. But you know what? They're not going to get away with it, because once people start suing these two, they're not going to get it. They're going to have to cough up a lot of money to give to these people for lying on Michael Jackson. Now she is among 3 groups of fans who are suing the 2 victims of Jackson's alleged abuse, Wade Robson and James Safechuck, in a French court, hoping to challenge a perceived smear of their idol who died in 2009. And of course, here's another piece of the film that Michael Jackson with I do believe Wade Robson or James Safechuck, one of the two, when they were little at the time. And so now this former nurse, she's among now of the group fans that are going to be suing Wade Robson and James Safechuck, because these two admitted to being liars, and and now they're going to take it to a French court, hoping to challenge a perceived smear of their idol who died in 2009. James Safechuck and Wade Robson, they have no proof of what happened to them. There was no police report at all, so they have lied continuously on this man. Robson and Safechuck, now age 41 and 37, respectively, alleged in the 4-hour documentary that they endured years of sexual abuse by Jackson when they were minors in the late 1980s and early 90s. So now they're claiming, they were victims. That's a lie, because nothing happened to them. There was no sexual encounter with these two, and now you got, and these two gentlemen are now 41 and 37 years old, and they're saying, oh, well, he touched me down there, he touched me over here, he touched me there. Bull crap. It never happened. It's a lie. they lied because they want that Jackson Estate money, and the Jackson Estate is not going to give it to them because it's a bullcrap lie. And of course, the Jackson Estate is suing HBO for $100 million for all this bullcrap lie they put on. While neither are residents in France, they are being sued in that country where it is illegal to make criminal accusations against the deceased. And so Wade Robson and James Safechuck are not residents of France, but they are going to get sued for criminal accusations against the deceased. So they have a right, so the French have the right to sue them. U.S.-based lawyers representing Robson and Safechuck said the pair had no comment to make on the case. Officials at the court in the northern city of Orleans, when the case was heard earlier this month, confirmed that the pair were not present and had no legal reputation. Of course they didn't have no legal reputation because they lied, and they're just going to keep continuing saying, oh well, he did this, did that, until they get money. Ain't nobody going to believe them. How can anybody believe two liars that say that Michael Jackson touched them? That's not even true at all. And of course, here's a screenshot of the 1988 of when James Safechuck was 10 years old and Michael Jackson during that time. And as you can see, Michael Jackson's not even touching James Safechuck. So these two gentlemen, James Safechuck and Wade Robson, they're complete pathetic idiots. Robson and Safechuck are being sued for a symbolic sum of €1, $1.13 each, for damaging the memory of the dead, the case claims. So yeah, Robson and Safechuck are being sued for a sum of €1, so that's $1.13 each. Well, that's a pretty cheap price, but hey, you gotta sue them, But I'd be suing them for a lot more than that. It is not about money. It is an affair of the heart, said Emmanuel Ludat, the lawyer representing the fans. So the lawyers representing the fans, even the lawyer don't believe them at all because they lied. Walter, president of one of the groups, MJ Community, which has 600 members, attended the first court hearing referring to Jackson. She said, he had a great heart. It is not right to make these claims against someone who isn't even alive to defend themselves. And you know what? That is true. You have no right to speak on someone who is no longer around and can't defend themselves. I believe her because she is telling the truth. And of course, referring to Jackson, she said he had a great heart. And Michael Jackson did a lot of things in his lifetime. A lot of touring, a lot of charity, everything you could think of. And here comes Wade Robson and James Safechuck with their bullcrap lies saying, oh, wow, those two need to sit down and shut up. And of course, here's Miriam Walters among the fans who are suing. This is the former nurse on the right with the crutches. The other groups on the line and MJ Street accused the documentary of revisionism and point to errors in the timeline of abuse provided by Safechuck. So James Safechuck is trying to visionism. In other words, he's trying to get them to believe them, and nobody's gonna fall for that. Bryce Nagier, president of On the Line and author of multiple books on Jackson's, explained, I wouldn't defend someone whatever the evidence, but he has already been acquitted, and there have already been inquiries. I am in my 40s. I have kids. So this Bryce said that he wouldn't defend someone at all like that. I wouldn't either, because the way those two have lied continuously on, because they want attention. And you know what? Nobody's going to keep giving it to them because they lied so much. The tribunal said a decision would be delivered on October 4th, and of course, you know how that would be. And of course, here is the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson. Their accusations in the documentary were not the first made against Jackson. In 1993, a 13-year-old boy accused the king of pop of sexually molesting him over a 5-month period. The case was settled when Jackson paid close to $25 million. And of course, at that time, Michael Jackson was tricked into that mess. Because, you know, Michael Jackson would never hurt a child, ever. Because his mind was like childlike still after all the abuse that his father had done to him. And of course, he got tricked into paying $25 million to this, back then, a 13-year-old boy. In 2013, Jackson was acquitted of abusing another child, also 13, who had cancer at the time of the alleged offense. So now in 2013, there was another alleged abuse that was acquitted. So now, who had cancer. And of course, that one, he lied also, or he or she, whichever one it could be anybody. Among the evidence presented by Ludat in court were written testimonies from tens of group members. Several fans were diagnosed with depression and mental problems following the release of the documentary. So now you got evidence on paper saying there were depression and mental problems. Well, because these people have lied on Michael Jackson. They said, well, they sexually molested me, this and that. Not true at all. It was all a setup just to get the money. And of course, here's Michael Jackson's family tonight's new assault allegations. Of course, this was supposed to be his last tour of This Is It tour, but unfortunately he passed away in 2009. I believe their pain is sincere, said Ludat, who in 2014 won a symbolic euro from Jackson's doctor Conrad Murray, who was ruled to have caused fans distress for his part in the star's death. Well, Dr. Conrad Murray was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter on Michael Jackson with the anesthesia medicine propofol, and of course he got sent 4 years in prison, but only did 2 years, and now he's out, but he's not allowed to practice medical ever again because of what he did. While the lawyer did not disclose his fee for the case, Walter confided that it was expensive. Well, what do you expect out of lawyers? Lawyers are never cheap. They're always expensive. Many of the French fans had booked tickets to Jackson's mammoth 50-show run scheduled to take place in London O2 Arena in 2009-2010. The concerts were cancelled following the singer's death. Although tickets were around €800, most of the fans did not ask for a refund. They held onto the tickets like relics, explained Ludat. For them, he is like Christ. Yes, a lot of people bought the tickets for the Jackson's Mammoth 50 show run, but unfortunately he passed away at that time, and people didn't want their money back, but so they just kept the tickets like relics. In other words, keep it in his memory, that they to let everybody know that they loved Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson was loved as always. He would never hurt anybody in his life. Walter set up MJ Community with the help of her first daughter following Jackson's death while pregnant with her daughter. She listened extensively to his music. Jennifer has known Michael all her life, she said. Yeah, so Jennifer has known Michael for all her life, from the time she was little till the time she was grown. So, and of course, she was pregnant with her daughter at that time, and she would listen to his music extensively. That same year, MJ Community helped organize a gathering of close to 4,000 fans in Paris to celebrate the life of the star. In 2010, the organization gained the legal status of a religion, the first fan group in France ever to do so, according to the group's lawyer and local media reports. So yeah, there was like 4,000 fans in Paris that day to celebrate the life of the star, and that's a pretty good amount of fans right there. I would do anything for him, said Walter, adding, I would defend him until the end. And of course, Walter would have done anything for him as right. And of course, here, as you can see, the screenshot of Michael Jackson and Wade Robson at the time. Now, show me where Michael Jackson had put his hands down there. He didn't do that. Michael Jackson's got his hand on Wade Robson's back when he was a little boy. So there was no sexual encounter there. What this man had done to Michael Jackson was totally outrageous and insane. Ludat said the legal battle has the full support of the Jackson family, who have previously called the film a public lynching. The family also described Jackson's accusers as admitted liars. Let me repeat that again. Admitted liars. In reference to sworn statements made by both Safechuck and Robson while Jackson was alive, that he did not molest them. And that is the truth. He did not molest them. So I am believing the Jackson family. The heck with James Safechuck and Wade Robson, because they admitted liars. So they have a known history of lying on people when they don't get things their way. Ludat says he has been approached by Jackson fan groups from Switzerland, Sweden, Italy, and elsewhere to clear up the pop's legend name via the French legal team. Yes, so that's where all the groups came from: Switzerland, Sweden, Italy, and elsewhere. And, to clear up the name of the Michael Jackson, because they all knew what they was. They all knew that James Safechuck and Wade Robson were lying, and that's why they're suing them. In a statement, John Branca, co-executor of Jackson's estate, wrote, "We remain hopeful that a victory in France will soon fuel a movement in the United States to finally explore changes in the law to afford defamation protection for the deceased." Yeah, so the Jackson estate is hoping that the French will win this movement. And you know what? I am taking the French side. I am not taking Wade Robson and James Safechuck's side whatsoever, because they're full of crap and they have lied way too much. HBO, which made the documentary, shares a parent company with AT&T with CNN. Of course, HBO is full of crap too. HBO had no right to be putting that one-sided a confession of leaving Neverland, because that's all it was one-sided, and I can't wait till Jermaine Jackson makes this documentary and tell their side of the story, because then Wade Robson and James Safechuck are going to feel stupid for what they have done to Michael Jackson. They're trying to destroy his legacy. They're trying to destroy everything that Michael Jackson worked hard for. And of course, when Jermaine Jackson gets done with those two, they're going to want to shut up after that. But let's pray that the France will soon feel a movement in the United States. So once that happens, I will be happy that these two gentlemen will shut their traps forever. Leave your comments below. I am out.